Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peace that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I get to welcome you to another amazing episode of the Day with Trae. Really, always excited for my guest who's, joining me here in the Black Media Matter studios. Today we have EL'ona Kearney. She's going to be telling us all about mindset reset. She is a transformational architect, y'all. So we're going to be learning all about her work. Really excited to dive into it. But, this is the best time for you to go ahead and help us grow organically just by sharing the show with folks who you feel could benefit from our daily dose of dopeness. Of course, as always, if you cannot watch us, don't trip. We got you covered. You can always listen to us as well anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae, and you'll find us on your favorite platforms. Okay, so before I get into it with Miss EL'ona, I got to say, for me, that spring going into summer, we're experiencing the sun already. Seattle starts to really waken up. And I loved being able to drive through Pioneer Square during the art walk and seeing all of the people out experiencing art, wearing art with their phenomenal outfits. And me and my son just happened to be in the neighborhood, right? Literally, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly why everybody's out. It is the Pioneer Square Art Walk, period, right? And so he and I, we're just like people watching and enjoying seeing people like having conversations on the street. And it reminded me of what Seattle looked like, especially like downtown corridor. You had that Pioneer Square hub, just energy. It just reminded me of the old school times. So I was able to share with him some stories about coming down here as a young person, being excited to have my own money to shop at the different shops downtown, always going to, Westlake Mall. That was a thing for us back in the day. And it was just great to see people out. So I just want to give a huge shout out to all of the curators in the Seattle greater metro area and beyond. This region has some phenomenal folks who are making things like that happen behind the scenes. And I know it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of time and energy. And I want to give them a shout out because oftentimes they're only in the forefront when they're maybe trying to promote it, but people don't always know what it takes to make those kinds of events happen in our city and beyond. And I'm so grateful because I have experienced being a part of those kinds of curation teams. And let me tell y'all something. It is serious work. A lot of the times those calls are happening late night hours, getting those final, agreements done and the final confirmations done. So huge shout out to everyone who is participating in these phenomenal art walks all throughout the city. And for all of you who are like, how do I get involved? I encourage you to look them up. Look up these organizations. Who is curating these things? How can I participate? Is there opportunities to volunteer? Because oftentimes, and I'll tell you more often than not, there is definitely room for extra hands on deck. So shout out to everyone who is making these phenomenal events happen. It's great to see the city bustling like that. It is so vibrant. It's so amazing, but it's also inspiring. And so I loved being able to see it. And me and my son were like, what is going on? And immediately I was like, oh yeah, I see it. I see the amazing outfits. I see what people are on. And I loved seeing it. I loved being there and experiencing it. And if you have not yet experienced it, check out these phenomenal art walks all throughout the city. If you Google that, if you search for it, you will find the information that you need, because I'm almost certain if you're anywhere in the Seattle metro area or greater metro area, you are going to find something that is about an art walk near you somewhere. It's beautiful because we have so many amazing artists that are contributing to these opportunities and these events. And that means we need to show up for them. And shout out to everybody who is showing up in your amazing outfits. You are wearing art. You are walkable art. I see you. I feel you. I'm grateful for you. Well, after this short break, up next, we got EL'ona Kearney in the building. We're going to be hearing all things mindset reset right after this. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Ole, 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 ole. Ole, ole. Ole, 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 ole. Ole, ole.
This summer, Metro connects the world.
And ain't nothing gonna bring me down 'cause I feel good. Ooh, God, I feel good. Let me tell you.
Someone you can grow old with until God calls you.
Trouble won't last. Won't last. It's old. It's old. It's old.
Black women in Washington faced more than twice the risk of syphilis in 2024, but cases are falling as we learn the facts and look out for ourselves. Yet 1 in 10 pregnant cases were among Black women, but more than half of potential congenital cases were prevented with early care. Early testing makes a difference. Get tested and protect yourself. Protect your child. Protect the community.
Solutions for Seattle, June 17th, T-Mobile Park. Y'all know what it is. Log on to the website, www.solutionsforseattle.com, and be a part of youth empowerment. Let's empower the youth. This is a call to action, a ticket challenge. I need everybody to tap in. Y'all know what it is. Solutions for Seattle.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. You know what? I'm just loving these commercials. Okay, let me tell you. Well, I'm excited because we got EL'ona in the building. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I am doing awesome.
It's so great to have you here
Thank you.
in the Black Media Matter Studios. It's your first time with us, so I'm so glad you're here.
Yes.
Okay, so I got to get to the backstory because however you got to a transformational architect, transforming minds, as you say, tell us a bit about your history, and then we'll talk later about the role and what you actually do for Mindset Reset. Tell us about your history.
Yes. So, well, you don't know, but I grew up in the church. So my mom was a pastor. My grandmother, she was a pastor as well. And I was always suicidal and depressed. So they were always trying to figure out, like, we have this, holistic Christian home, and you out here in and out the hospital trying to commit suicide. What is wrong with you? And I was asking God the same thing, like, what's wrong with me? Because they say forgive, and I don't understand how to forgive because they say just do it or just get over it, and I feel like I can't get over it. And so when I had my kids, well, I went into the military as well, so I was still, my whole thought process in going in the military was that, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in here, I'll have access to commit suicide or something. But when I got there, I saw I actually had a fight that when I went through what they, like the first 2 weeks is called Hell Week. And when I got there, instead of like doing what I thought I was going to do, my mindset, it just kind of flipped to being defensive, but I was also taking up for other soldiers. It's like, oh, everybody's about to do these push-ups because so-and-so didn't do such and such right. Oh, I said, oh, no, we not. So I was, I might have been combative at the same time, but once I got to permanent party, and I was having a hard time with authority just because, I felt like everything was, I'm going to, if you falsely accuse me of something, oh no, we about to fight about this. So my first sergeant, who actually was a black first sergeant because I was in a mixed unit, but then they put me in a more unit that had more black people in there. And my first sergeant, he pulled me, he like pushed my feet off his desk. He was like, look, give me 6 months to transform your mind. If I don't transform your mind about being in the military, then I promise I'll help you get out the military on honorable discharge. And within those 6 months of things, so what he did was, instead of just reprimanding me or writing me up for Article 15s, he would say, well, we're supposed to write you up for this. I'm going to give you a verbal warning, but what I want you to do is go to the AR code and find out why we don't do this and what is the history behind why this rule was created, whether it was safety or whatever it was. And when he did that, then it started, would you say, expanding, broadening the way I thought and saw things, instead of thinking like, oh, it's just so strict, y'all just don't want us to survive, or those type of things. So then I started, he was like, they've never had anyone in their unit who got promotions. I got 4 promotions. I went from E nothing to E4 in 6 months. So, so as I started doing things, I started seeing that I was doing daily affirmations without knowing that I was doing affirmations. Because normally I would try to do an affirmation like, oh, this crap don't work. I'm not doing it no more. Y'all can miss me with that. But I was doing it because when things would happen, like, oh yeah, tomorrow I gotta get up and I have to do this, and I want to do this, and I'm excited about this. It was like I was doing subconsciously affirmations. And as time went along, I was like, back to my question of childhood, well, what is my purpose in life? And then I noticed that I could be in a store and people just, some random person to just start talking to me about their problems and start crying on my shoulder. I had a guy broke up with me because he said that everywhere we go, people always have your attention. They just start crying and start talking to you like you're a counselor or something. I said, I don't know. I just attract people. But it's like, you give such good advice. And it was because I learned that forgiveness had nothing to do with forgiving and letting go. We were teaching it all wrong. Forgiveness had to do with, growing up, in our communities, we don't teach boundaries. And that's why we're triggered, because we have no boundaries. So when something happens, we're triggered. No one has any consequences to the things that we do. We constantly open the door. We constantly do everything for everyone, but we never take time to self-care or put ourselves first, because we were taught those things were selfish. And then I went on, I did a lot of things with like homeschool and different groups. Everywhere I went, I was always talking about mindset, changing your mindset and to get whatever you. So I was a homeless, single mother veteran when I came out the military. I went on, I tried to get my first house, and this was when Obama was president. So a lot of the mortgage lenders was like, oh, because of the president, you're not gonna be able to get this. And I'm like, no, it's you. You're making it difficult. So I was getting denied for houses that I wanted to purchase. So already it was struggle for me just to even apply to do it, because in my head, I'm like, I don't have the credit score. I don't have the type of income I need. I already had these limitations, but I said, let me debunk that. So then after that, I was like, I'm not gonna buy a house. Then I started doing Clay 1180 radio. I was co-hosting the military report with Rick Tillman, and we had a guest in there, and he said they were a mortgage lender and a realtor, and they were like, oh, I can help you find a house. Whoever you was working with didn't know what they were doing. Every place they were getting was looking, were wanting me to stay there, even with HOA, and I was like, I don't do no HOA. Tell you, we're gonna have some problem. So when it was like coming, I had 3-month lease that I had signed, because I told him, I said, look, if I can't find a place, all my family live in Florida, I'm just gonna go to Florida, go back to Florida and stay with family, because I can't. And the last month, because I was riding in my car, I said, God, if I don't have nothing by these 3 months, I'm just gonna give up ever buy the house. Yeah. So the last month before my lease was up, we found a house, and it was elderly lady. Her husband had passed away, and she didn't really want to leave the house. And I know, like, there's the discrimination laws. And I said, look, I'll sign a waiver paper. She can stay there. So I met her, and we connected. And so she had, people who were trying to pay cash higher. And that's where a lot of people were, like, outbidding me. And she said, no, I want her to move into this house. I'll pay the down payment, the closing, all the, because it was an oil tank. I'll pay for the fees for that. I just want her to move in here.
Oh.
So I said, okay, it was meant for me to be here.
Wow.
And so,
What a story.
That's my journey.
Well, it's quite extensive too, right? So I'm glad you took the time to walk us through that, because there's so many touch points there that I'm sure you're able to utilize in terms of your own lived experience today as a transformational architect. Now, what does that mean? I mean, you're talking about transforming mindsets with a company called Mindset Reset, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot going on here based on what you experienced in the military and then later in life as well in terms of adjusting your mindset. Tell us more.
Yes. So being a transformation architect is just pretty much transforming helping people transform their mindset. So we all come from different backgrounds, and like you can tell me your story, and then and you might have someone sitting there say, yeah, but you was able to do it because of this, and that doesn't apply to me. And we have to come from out of that, because sometimes it's not about how you tell the story. I could sit here and say, oh yeah, my parents was Christians, they gave me a strict life, I couldn't do this, so that's my excuse. We have to stop making everything an excuse and a reason. So I help people to see where they are, what is the results of what you want, look at the results you're getting being the way you are. And I start with cultivated and uncultivated character. When we get met, especially I was a single mom, and then you have a lot of kids, you be like, oh, you're just so terrible, or you're just hard-headed. And we don't never learn to cultivate that characteristics that we tend to suppress who our kids really are. And they're like, I don't know who I am or what I like. So I would always get told I was stubborn. I was, hard-headed, all of those different things. But that same first sergeant that took me under his wings told me, he said, you're not stubborn. You're not hard-headed. You being strong-willed, he said, those are characteristics of a leader that someone hasn't developed in you. And so he started giving me leadership roles. And so if we take those different things of if somebody's passive or, shy, we take and we flip, oh, well, you're not passive, shy, you're observant. So teach you how to master what you are. So like if someone interviews me, they say, oh, what is your strength and your weakness? Oh, my strength and my weakness is I'm strong-willed and I'm determined. If you give me a task, I'm gonna make sure it gets done. The only thing is I just don't know how to stop, because I'm not gonna stop until that task is done. So, transformation, we gotta first transform the way we see ourselves and not see ourselves as the negative part, but the positive of who we can be.
Yeah, it's like two sides of the same coin, right?
Yes.
It's not as if one or the other is not right. They're both right, but the way that you actually understand it is what's important.
Yes.
How is this working with folks that you're working with? Tell us about some of those results that you've been really either proud of or excited about as you're helping people identify those strengths or understand those characteristics, right, better about themselves. Tell us about some of those ways that it's really helping people.
Most definitely. So I would say my husband is my first guinea pig. My husband, he served 24 years in prison. And for him, the mindset was, I can't do this because of the type of background that he had. He was like one of the worst crimes. And for him, it was constantly reminding him, look, your past is not who you are. And you can utilize your past to help save someone else. You didn't go through what you went through for this to be a second chance society and not to come out and be the example. Like, we don't want to be the exception. We want to be the standard. So we want, and you be that standard, and somebody else comes along, they need to raise the standard. You know, we keep on passing that along to this next generation because we get labeled all of these things, and we need to be the ones to debunk that. So at the end of the day, you know, I don't have no pity on, you know, you went to jail or whatever. He doesn't have no pity on that because he said, I did it, I deserved it, you know. But what we do is, how do we move forward with those things? So for him, he was the first formerly incarcerated to get hired at King County Elections. He's a welder, he's a journeyman commercial plumber, all of these things. And then at places where you can't get a job because of the ex-felon, especially the type that he had, he's appealed the process. One place he appealed 5 times, but he has gotten those credentials. He has a merchant mariner's license, he has a TWIC card. These are things that everyone gives up at them telling you no, rather than appealing. And when I say appeal, he appealed about 3 to 5 times just on one of those applications, but the rest of them have been smooth sailing. So we don't accept no and whatnot. You know, there's going to be that stigma, which is kind of like the other part of my transformation mindset, because I've included him because we have the core housing core where we turned our house into a transition home. So people who come out, they're getting jobs and it stays full because the guys don't want to leave. But so they have jobs and they're paying. And I know one guy had pointed out, they said, you know, you're the only transition house who is helping people get jobs while they're here and you're mentoring them. So, you know, that's what our transformation architect does. We look at what your needs are, but you also have to be willing.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing, I'm not going to do the homework for you.
Well, I can only imagine, right, that it takes someone to be able to accept the change and the transition, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of times people are presented with these kinds of concepts or notions, and it really does take someone to say, no, I'm ready for this. You know, this is at a point in my life where I know I need this. So it's beautiful to hear how you're working with folks in the house, but also how your husband was able to accept a shift in mindset, right?
Yes.
And realizing that, you know, like, how do I learn from my past and not allow it to define me moving forward, which is so key. And it really is transformational. So you're doing a lot of work. How are you getting this out in community? Well, this is a great way, obviously, being here. But tell us more about that strategy so people understand exactly what you're doing. And then I got to end with it because you get to tell folks exactly how they find you by looking into that camera there and letting them know.
Yes. So how I'm getting out of community is going around and doing seminars. So what we're doing is I guess, called scaling up or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're doing seminars, and we want to fill a gap is where we're expanding our business to. Right now, you have programs that are trying to help formerly incarcerated people to get jobs, and you know, but just because they're helping people, then they can get the application like, yeah, but no. And so what we're doing is we're expanding into going into corporations to hire us to come in and help them to hire formerly incarcerated and also mentor them in their companies, as well as help them with the work culture of debunking the stereotypes that they have and give seminars, team building and whatnot. So that's what we do. I've signed my husband up to also, I know Texas has this thing that's coming up where they're looking for people who are formerly incarcerated gang members because he used to be in the gangs, and to come and speak with them and their judges as well at their events. So we're just, like I say, we stay full. So right now I'm looking at getting more funding to purchase another house and expand as well. And I know I have an interview over in Ohio because they want us to replicate the same model over there in their city as well.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
EL'ona, if folks are in need of the services you provide or they know about ways to help you get resourced to get that next property, I want to make sure folks know exactly how to tap in with you. Look right there, let them know.
Yes, you can find us at mindsetreset.co, and that's not com, so it's just a CO at the end. And all of our information is right there on the website.
Wow. Thanks for the work you're doing, and thanks for sharing it with us today so we can help amplify the great work you're doing in the community. Continue on, my friend. Anytime you got updates, come on back and see us.
Most definitely. Thank you.
Wow. Y'all, who knew? Transformational architect. I am intrigued, and I'm so glad now I'm informed. After this short break, I'll wrap it all up. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Solutions for Seattle, June 17th, T-Mobile Park. Y'all know what it is. Log on to the website, www.solutionsforseattle.com, and be a part of youth empowerment. Let's empower the youth. This is a call to action, a ticket challenge. I need everybody to tap in. Y'all know what it is. Solutions for Seattle.
Now's your chance to join the Days to Come Reading Challenge to ignite the civic imagination needed for racial repair in Washington state. Read, discuss, and take action until Juneteenth to bring Dr. King's vision of a truly just society to life. Visit saarcpnw.org for more information.
Hey, what's up, everybody? JD here. I'm tapping in to make sure you go to juneteenthwa.com to find out everything that's going on and stay up to date on all the stuff that will be happening at Juneteenth this year. The event, we are moving to the beautiful Hobb Field and parking lot A down over there. Make sure you go to the website to hear about everything. We're having a car show this year. We're doing the Taste of Juneteenth this year. And on the main stage, we are bringing Erica Campbell, Crystal Aiken, and Life Jennings, and we have some great local acts that you may have heard of, maybe you haven't, but you will hear about them on Juneteenth. So make sure you go to the website to learn everything you need to know about the event. Also, you can RSVP on the event if you want to be a vendor, if you want to be a sponsor, if you want to be a food truck. All that is on the website, juneteenthwa.com. If you want to sign up for the car show, juneteenthwa.com. We'll see you here. Peace.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to EL'ona for joining us today. What a great concept, right? And we talk about different ways of engaging with different sets of our community. And I love that she is making it real for folks. At the end of the day, one of the things that really drives me and a lot of my organizing is, are we making a difference? Are people better off? At the end, the outcomes matter because it can't just be theoretical. They need to be practical and they need to be tangible for folks in order for it to make a difference, right? And so I'm always asking that question. So I love that her work is really focused on making real differences in people's lives. And what a touching part to say, you know, for one of the residents in her transformational home to say, look, like, you are out here, you're helping us, right? Get these jobs. I'm making good wages because I'm being invested in. I'm changing my mindset, right? I'm shifting my understanding of who I am and what my purpose is and how I can contribute. These things are vital when we think about ourselves as adults and how we become productive members of society. There's people who have never been incarcerated who need these services. So if you find that this was really helpful to you, please go to the website, make sure you tap in with them. You know, if you know people in your lives, or if it's you who's like, man, wait a minute, I need that, you know, right? I might need to shift my mindset. If you need these services and you need that help, or someone in your life does, please make sure y'all are reaching out. That's what this is all about. If I can use this platform to amplify and elevate works like this that actually make a difference and move the needle, we're doing our job here on The Day with Trae. So huge shout out to EL'ona for joining me today and sharing her body of work and her passion for giving back in this way. Of course, I was inspired. I want y'all to be inspired too. She gave you a great example of how she said, I know I can be a part of the solution by doing this work. Be inspired to find your pathway to be a part of the solution as well. And you know what? It might just be that you're helping someone else understand that they need this and that they can also transform their mindset. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Until next time, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.